Hello, brothers and sisters. Good evening. I'm so happy to be here again with you. I'm gonna sing a couple of songs to prepare our environment, prepare ourselves for the night, and we're gonna have a good talker tonight. So, welcome to our public meeting. I'm gonna sing a song called Good Old Man. It's not about me, it's about a spirit very popular in Brazil called Bezerra de Menezes. Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky, gray bushy beard, Santa's look alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living joy, or in pain. Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky, gray bushy beard, Santa look alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living joy, or in pain. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Good, receive our prayers and also our heart. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Light, place our pain at the feet of Jesus Christ. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Good, receive our prayers and also our heart. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Light, place our pain at the feet of Jesus Christ. Vibrate. When life lends a hand, it's time to open up your heart. It is time to love one another. It's time to take part. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, our lives are transforming into song. Our dreams become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, transform it into song. Our dreams become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity. So if you're interested, join us in our free course that our host is going to talk about tonight. Now, Song to Mother Zephyrina is another spirit very, very beautiful in our lives. Source of love that radiates, warming up our cold night, support and comfort, support and comfort. Cascades flow down the mountain, calling the children of earth with love in their heart, with love in their heart. My soul never loses hope, because your love always teaches me the solution lies in our hope. The solution lies in our hope. Oh, my mother Zephyrina, black harvest of wonderful blessings. Make your small son a good Christian. Make your small son a good Christian. Source of love that radiates, warming up our cold night, support and comfort, support and comfort. Cascade flown down the mountain, calling the children of earth with love in their hearts, with love in their hearts. My soul never loses hope, cause your love always teaches me the solution lies in our hope. The solution lies in our hope. Oh, my mother Zephyrina, harvest of wonderful blessings. Make your small son a good Christian. Make your small son And now the last song called Love in Action. Oh, Jesus, here I am, my knees on the floor to say thank you, my Lord, for the life that come through this door. Your love is the key to change the entire world. Using these chains wisely, we live in peace and harmony. Now I understand, helping others is helping myself. Your words now are so crystal clear. Your teachings have no frontiers. To see all this transformation, we just have to put love in action. Now I understand, helping others is helping myself. Your words now are so crystal clear. Your teachings have no frontiers. To see all this transformation, you just have to put love in action. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our public meeting. We thank everyone for joining us tonight. Before we start, we would like to share a couple of announcements. We ask you to turn off your phone notifications and find a quiet place during this time if possible. Then, after the presentation, we will have a spiritual treatment with passes and magnetized water. So we invite you to set aside a container with water to be magnetized. Just forgot to mention that our meeting will have a 30 minutes presentation followed by Q&A. I'm sorry. And we would like to announce that our public meeting is being retransmitted today by Continental Concafres Americas through their Facebook, and will also be retransmitted every Wednesday at 8 p.m. East by Kardec Radio through their Facebook and YouTube. We have a special invitation for who wants to learn more about Spiritism. Every Saturday at 5:15 p.m. East, we have an online and free class on our course, Get to Know to Spiritism. The next class will be on Saturday, October 21st, and the theme of this Saturday meeting will be reincarnation. What an amazing topic, right? So if you are interested, join us. The registration link will be in the chat. We offer virtual live gospel at home. Did you know that? So the gospel at home is an effective support for you and your family's spiritual harmony. We will motivate and guide you in establishing and maintaining the gospel at home study meetings. So by posting in the chat, you can request it. So please let us know. You are welcome to include your or someone else's names on the list of positive vibration for incarnate or discarnate. So the person you indicate will be assisted by the good spirits to provide healing energy and strengthen goodwill. Please find the link in our chat. The topic of today's special meeting is Days of Darkness, which will be facilitated by our sister Ana Oliveira from Alabama, US. Everyone is welcome to write comments and questions in the chat, and we will address the questions at the end of the talk. And now we would like to invite our tonight's speaker that will also do our opening prayer as well. Welcome, Anna.
Hello, Marcelo. Hello, everyone.
How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. It's always very nice to be here with you all.
It's always we are always happy to have you here. Okay, I'll see you later.
All right. Okay, my brothers and sisters, let's do our opening prayer so that we can start our talk. Closing our eyes to be able to focus more inside ourselves, taking consciousness of where we are, of this moment, but at the same time, elevating our thoughts and our hearts to the highest, to our Master Jesus, thanking Him for our lives, for the opportunity of this birth or reincarnation. Thanking Him that life has so many challenges, but we have also so much support from Him, from our guardian angels. God provides us in His mercy with so many resources to overcome all the difficulties that we have, that we might face in life. And with all that life offers, it's always, always very worth living, and living with the presence of Jesus, with His message of courage and of love, of fraternity, of peace, living with that, like He said that He came so that we can live in abundance. So we thank Jesus and our mentors. We ask for protection and for enlightenment. We ask the permission to start the talk of tonight. And so be it. All right. So today we will talk about. Let's see if I can always put my. Thank you. So tonight we'll talk about a chapter from this book called Times of Health and Conscientiousness. And it's the author is Divaldo Franco, and the spirit author of that book is Joanna De Angelis. And the title is Days of Darkness. So the message starts like that. Coincidentally, there are days that are characterized by a string of unpleasant occurrences. So when I was invited to do this special talk, and special is not, nothing special. It means that we are coming out of the theme of the gospel, right? You notice that every week we follow a chapter of the gospel, but then means that I could choose something that I saw fit. And I really like this book from other chapters. And I started looking in my books. Okay, let's see what inspiration, what would be a good talk. And it was around the time where things were turning a little bit also in history with our days. So let's continue with the message and see if you think that maybe we could be living some days of darkness, or if you can recognize some part of your life that was or there is now, according to this description. So it says that nothing seems to go right. All activities are mixed up, and facts are depressing and disturbing. Right? So if we look at our news now, we had one war, now we have a second one. If we look in terms of natural disasters, some places are flooding, others have fire, right? Sometimes in our lives, it seems like, it's one thing after the other, and we just cannot catch a break, right? If you are glued to the news, you might, it might be really, really hard for your mental health, actually, because really the facts that are shown to us and advertised that, it's really, they are depressing and disturbing, right? With each new attempt, other failures ensue, as if the order of natural events were totally upset. So, and we see this like one war, and you're like, okay, but now I'm going to still stay positive. And then another one happens. You might say, well, yeah, this situation is really bad. And then something else, happens there. It makes you really question, right, the order of things. Are these things just random? What is the purpose of those things? Can I overcome my difficulties? What is really the purpose of these whole things that are happening, all these things that are coming to pass, right? The message continues saying that on these occasions, problems pile up and pessimism settles in the mind and in the emotions, leading to negative memories with grim omens, right? So, yeah, in this, it seems like, sometimes like that expression that we have in English that says when it rains, it pours, right? Or there's no rest for the weary. So you're like, oh, I'm kind of still tired, or I'm still recovering from maybe this that happened. And then we already have that. So, this pile up of problems really can bring us, right, to a state where we feel more negative, right? And the message continues saying that those who suffer such injunctions tend to get discouraged and take refuge in psychological patterns of self-affliction, unhappiness, and self-contempt, right? And natural, right? That you just see one thing after the other. Is one bad news after another bad news. So our natural tendency really is to get discouraged, right? And our mind really cannot sometimes do anything other than worry, even though we know that worry is not going to help, right? Yeah, I love the way that she describes, because I mean, from all these descriptions of, what days of darkness can feel and like, I think one of these phrases, will resonate with you, because they do resonate with me. So Joanna says that the people facing these challenges, they feel besieged by a colossal forces that cannot be fought against, and thus let themselves be dragged along by the contrary currents, poisoning themselves with ill human. However, so this is the whole description, right? These are things that I think everybody, right, can say that they have um, passed through, or that today we can, talk about places on this earth where things are very grim. But Joanna tell us that these are days of trial and not for discouragement. These are days of challenge and not for the cessation of effort, right? Of course, what we would be expecting. She's a spiritist author, right? And spiritist author. So the spiritism, with all its message, is the promised consoler from Christ. So it has to bring us consolation, right? So again, I want to repeat, do days of darkness exist? Yes, we all can attest to that. But these are days of trial and not for discouragement, of challenge and not for the cessation of effort. She says the harsher the difficulties, the more should be the investment of energies and the more careful the application of moral values in the battle. So yeah, brothers and sisters, battle, right? It's a spiritual battle, a moral battle that we face as Earth. It's in this period of transformation, right? We are being faced with a lot of difficulties, with a lot of challenges, and those are choices. We can either go one way or the other, and those decisions have consequences and will show really in which side we are, right? What it really in our core we want. Do we really want a better world, right? So it is the time of testing, right? This sounds like a big final test or an exam, like those big ones in school. But again, the harsher the difficulties, the more investment we should have of our energies and the careful application of moral values. So we see those things. If one thing that seems evil in the world should first do for us is really to show us what we do not want to do, right? So, and Jesus said that there would be scandal, right? He says that in the Bible. But to the one who brings the scandal. But, we can learn through that. You can sediment in yourselves. What are your moral characters? What is really important to you? Because that's where you would put your effort, your energies, right? she says that because, remember, she's saying she agrees that there are days of darkness, but she's making us aware of how to win this fight. She says that giving up without a fight, the quicker the failure. And when one goes into battle with the idea of losing, part of the endeavor is already lost, right? So we are children of God. Yeah, we have difficulties, but we have resources. We were not created to suffer. That's what Spiritism tells us. We are faced with those challenges for a bigger reason, but a reason that is just, right? Because God is just. So, uh, we should not, right? So even though we're talking about days of darkness, we are acknowledging that sometimes for many of us is really hard to have hope and consolation. But that's the message of today, is that even if it's hard, and we're not saying it's not, that's when we need to kind of, bring even more of our energies. We need to focus more. We need to really believe more, right? We need to use our faith more. So she says, on such dark days, which do happen periodically and at times become continuous, right? Tell us about it, right? When the pandemic came, we were thinking, oh, it's just, I still remember the email thing saying, see you in 3 months. And then it was much more than that. And it's not that that is after, 3 years or more. It's totally out of our sight, right? We still have to use our energies, our efforts, our moral qualities to fight this too, right? So she says that at those times, we need to be more vigilant and thoughtful, right? So it's not for us to give up, it's for us to be even more aware, right? It's not for us to kind of put our guard down. It's the time to really bring our moral shields and use those. Use the best that we already have in us to be able to pass through those times. Um, she says it is normal for there to be one or more failures when several activities are involved, right? And that is another important thing. Sometimes we think because we're having problems maybe with our family that our whole life it's bad. But if we could compartmentalize, we're going to see that maybe at work is still okay, right? It's just that one. Or on the contrary, if it's at work, it's not because I have problems at work that my whole life, right, is in disarray. I have probably a very good family life and a community life or other parts. So we have to make sure that we separate this. And she's telling us this here, that we have battles in so many fronts, right? We are, our whole being, right, participates in so many other activities that if we're trying many things, it's normal for one or two to not go well, right? Even so, she says, an unending string of failures may have roots in pernicious spirit related causes, where certain personages are interested in harming you, making mental and emotional space for obsessive interactions. So, because we are spiritists, we should remember that, right? That if I am sad, if I am um, not hopeful, that can be, of course that comes from me, but it can be amplified by the spirits around me that might want to harm me, right? So we are gonna, here in this slide, we're gonna take a few minutes and we'll stop a little bit, pause on the message, but then remind ourselves about the types of obsession, right? So obsession in a very simple way is a harmful influence by another spirit, right? The most common one that we think is about a discarnate spirit to an incarnate. So a spirit of somebody that we call, right, in quotations, dead, or somebody who discarnate to somebody who is living or who is incarnate. But can we think about an incarnate to discarnate obsession, or that consistent, insistent, harmful influence? Yes, right. Like sometimes if a loved one discarnates and we just think about that person the whole time, and it's not with good feelings, or it's just that we remember and we miss them. That's not, it's like a very intent and insistent thing that we cannot even do other things but to be thinking about that. It's like a mono idea, right? It can be from discarnate to discarnate, and can, I think I missed one in there. So discarnate to incarnate, incarnate to discarnate, discarnate to discarnate in the spiritual world, and incarnate to incarnate, right? Do you know those people, like maybe if they have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, all they do, they have like the tracking. Now with the technology, it makes it even much easier, because then you don't know, not worried about what are you doing, but where the person is, how long they're staying this place or that place. It's like you're not even living your life, it sounds like, but you living that person's, life. And in terms of levels, this simple obsession, it's the most, if that influence, it's at a lower level. If it gets, more severe, then it can go into fascination and subjugation. um, Joanna, in the message, so we're back in the message, she also reminds this, that the more we became irritable and depressed, in those dark days of darkness, the more we will feel fenced in, and then even more unfortunate occurrence will take shape, right? Because it's almost like we're such a negative place that then we attract even more negative things, right? We can't find a way to break the cycle, to break through that whole string of events. So she says in those times, do not struggle. Swim against the current until don't struggle swimming against the current until you are exhausted, but overcome the current's flow by diverting the direction of the water. And she's going to tell us some of the things that we can do to actually divert the direction of the water. So the current is, it's a little bit at our favor. We are not always against the current. What it really is exhausting. So she reminds again that in these situations, there are actors there from the spiritual world that can make the situation worse, right? In a situation of obsession, there are no victims, right? There is the connection, because if there's no vibratory connection, if I'm not fearful, the spirit cannot make me fearful. But if I am a fearful person, I don't know about that. I'm not watching my thoughts. I'm not working on myself to be more confident. They can amplify that, right? And make, a little bit more, and use that kind of to make their influence in me, right? So, what are some of the motives behind obsession? And these are from the Medium's book that you can read, right, or study. But sometimes, and the most common one is the revenge against persons who wronged them during their present life or in a previous one. So usually that's what we think. I harmed somebody in my last life, so then maybe in this life they are my obsessor. But sometimes there are spirits that they have the desire to do evil simply because they suffer. So if they suffer, they want others to suffer too. And it's kind of a pleasure for them tormenting and humiliating others. Sometimes they act out of hatred and jealousy toward whatever is good. That is why they cast their malevolence over honest individuals. So usually in obsessive process, it's not because, maybe you did somebody harm. There are some spirits that maybe they just don't like education at all. They don't want people to progress through getting, but improving their knowledge. So if you're teaching and you're doing really good things in that area, you might be the target, right? Or others might be related because you're doing charity or because you're doing, something related to health. Others are driven by sheer cowardice, taking advantage of the mental weakness of certain persons whom they know to be incapable of offering any resistance, right? And that's why it's so important. This message is like in those times, and when you feel, that you really don't feel well. How much is coming from yourself? How much is coming from the outside? How much is coming really just because you consume the news the whole time? How much is coming from a possible spiritual obsession? How much is coming, from the environment you are? And there are also obsessing spirits who are not really evil, but they want to dominate by pride and false wisdom. So they try to wish and they wish to impose their opinions that way. So all of those are motives for obsession. But Joanna now is going to start talking to us about those things that we can do to really break that current, right? To turn that current of, these very difficult events. So she talks in the message like that: fight against their wiles with prayer, optimism, optimistic thoughts, and unreserved trust in God. Right. So all of these is probably the opposite of what you probably naturally be feeling at that time. And that will be the why it's so hard to do that. But that is the most effective because, if you are fearful, you have to have optimistic thoughts. You have to have trust and faith in God. Those are opposing sentiments. If you fearful, but you still think about doubts and you don't have faith in any of that, that is just going to amplify, right? That, not so good sentiment, right? So if you really want to change the way you are feeling, right, you have to look for opposites, right? She talks about breaking the successions of mistakes by changing your mental landscape so that you do not empower the perturbing agent, right? Even it can be our own mind sometimes that tells us lies and tell us things about being, to be pessimist, that, oh, you cannot do it. So we can have a different mental landscape so that we do not empower what is already bringing the disturbance to our selves. It could even be also, an obsession spirit. And remember thought, right? In this book, the problem of the being, the destiny, and the pain, it might not be exactly that, the translation in English by Leon Denis, he says that there's no more important subject than the study of thought, of its powers, of its action. It is the initial cause of our elevation and our abasement. Thought is creative, so you can create with thought. It does not only work around us, influencing our fellow human beings for good or evil, it acts mainly on us. It generates our words, our actions, and with it, we build every day the edifice, great or miserable, of our life, present and future. We model our soul and its sheath with our thoughts. These produce forms, images that are imprinted on the subtle matter of which the fluidic body is composed. Thus, little by little, our being is peopled with forms, frivolous or austere, graceful or terrible, coarse or sublime. This soul is ennobled, clothed with beauty, or with an atmosphere of ugliness, all because of our thoughts. So they are really important. Joanna, tell us to listen to enriching music in those times of darkness that leads you to recall pleasant memories or to make exciting plans. So we cannot give in. Remember, we cannot quit and give in into that everything is bad, that there's no other beauty in life, that there's nothing else, right? And sometimes the music is that. It's what can make us the change, can make that switch change from our mental environment, right? And that's why we start this meeting with our friend Publio and some many others singing so that we can forget about the things of the day. We can be getting into a good environment, mental, emotional, right? So that we can take more advantage of, this topic, for example. Can you imagine if you just came and I started talking about, okay, we're going to talk about today days of darkness, right? So you might have been just got inside your house from driving or just putting your kids to bed or giving them their dinner or something, and your mind is still not here, right? So that helps, soothe us. And I heard somebody sometime before, but I don't know who is the author, but for something, and this is a very bad translation, but that the words reach our intellect, but music reaches our emotions, right? So that's why in our program, Alta de Souza, and you're going to see in our meetings and things like that, we use this instrument, this tool to really break the current, right? If we're going to a very upsetting or distracted, whatever, now we have to come. This is our time to study, or is our time to work with charity, or a time to pray, or whatever it is. So the music helps with that. She says, read an uplifting passage. Ooh, read an uplifting passage from the gospel or other edifying work in order to renew yourself emotionally, right? So to bring good emotions there, the gospel is good news. So it talks about hope and consolation and good virtues, right? Of being fraternal, of being charitable, of forgiveness. So these will renew ourselves emotionally if we have been drained by some of the things that are happening. It says, get away from the hustle and bustle and get some rest, right? Contemplate a region that will lift you out of your dismal state, right? So if the environment, in the house, you cannot turn off the TV. If you're at work, cannot stop thinking. Try to find a place, right? Outside, may in nature help us so much with that, where you can get some fresh air, where you can have some plants around or maybe some animals, and you can actually, contemplate that, right? And get away from how you're feeling. Connect to yourself, right? If we go inside, we're really going to find that connection with our creator, with ourselves, and we will it much easier to believe and to really to have that idea of the possibilities, right? That's what Joanna says. Think about the blissful future that awaits you, right? So, it's one life, it's a lot is important, but it's just one birth, it's one life, we reincarnate. So, it she also says, so we should not be despaired, right? Wherever we go, even if the world ends today, we know, right, that God will not forsake us, that Jesus will not abandon us, that the plan is for evolution, is of progress, is of work. Those are the divine laws. So we'll keep existing because we do not cease to exist. We might need to go to another planet, but it might be different, but it will continue, right? So we're not going to become like some, celestial powder, or we're going to disappear. We'll continue to exist, right? So she says, lift yourself to God through fervent prayer, and you will break the chains of affliction. And here's the end of the message. She says, the sun is always shining behind the gloomy clouds. And when it is placed in your inner world, no threat of darkness can begin to diminish the intensity of its light. Follow that light and confidently and peacefully defeat your days of failures, right? So, even if things are not getting our way, if things could be better than what they are, if seems to us like we are failing as humanity, or we are failing personally in some kind of aspect of our lives, those are the times not to despair, but to continue, right? To push forward, to bring on more faith and more courage, use more of our energies and our moral um, character into that fight, into that battle, right? And but she says, then when we can acquire, right, that optimism or that faith, then there's no other darkness, right, that can diminish that light that we already have. So it's easy, no, it's not, but it's hard because it gives you a lot of merit. And the merit is that the more light that you construct in yourself, less vulnerable you will be to the darkness around, right? So that's the message here, to follow that light, right, and confidently and peacefully defeat our days of failures. So now I just wanted to take like maybe 30 seconds. Maybe I talk too much and we're probably over a little bit of time, but um, I wanted to, in this book, in the very first page is almost like a mentalization of visualization. So I wanted to do this with everybody now. So if you are seeing the pictures, look at the pictures, listen to the words. If you're not, if you just listen to us on demand, and if you're not seeing the slides, think about the images, right, that the words will bring to you. So I'll read this, is just this message right there. And then after that, we'll be really over. But, in this, maybe we can remember these kind of meditations and words of optimism. It can be a psalm, it can be some kind of mantra or a little sentence that you say to remind yourself and to give yourself that reset, that I'm better than this. That's not all that I am, right? So let's go. Divine light envelops me and scatters the outer darkness that used to besiege me with bitterness. I let myself be enlightened, and all my problems disappear, enabling me to better see the plan for my physical existence. Pessimism vanishes. Irritation is gone. I am destined for success, and I pursue it with a mind enriched with enthusiasm. I am bathed in outer light. I am inner light. I am bathed in outer light. I am inner light. I am bathed in outer light. I am inner light. And so it is. I really hope that may there always be light in your path. And I thank you guys so much for listening. God bless.
Hi, Anna. Wow,
Hello.
thank you so much for this beautiful presentation. And I need to say that I love the visualization. It was so powerful. right? If we can like do this every single day, I know that we are gonna feel better
Mhm.
and be strong, and we are gonna connect with the good spirits, right?
Mhm.
Because it's all in our minds. Thank you so much. We
Mhm.
have some questions and
Mhm.
comments.
Mhm.
So Rodrigo Farias is asking, how does Spiritism teach us to deal with our days of darkness?
Yes, so really, just like those little lists that Joanna gave us, prayer is really important, right? It's not because we're just going to pray that we're not, if we need the doctor, we're not going to look for the doctor. If we lost our job, we're not going to look for a job. We're going to do all of that. But the prayer, right, it really connects us, like you said, with God, with ourselves, with the high spirit. So there are problems, but there are resources, and maybe the your mentors, your guardian angels, whatever you want to call them, maybe they're trying to give you a good idea for how to come out of those days of darkness, right? They want to inspire you to do something or to think in a some way, but through the prayer you can really connect with that, right?
Mhm.
um good music, good, good readings and the reading of the gospel, like walking, anything that you can do that is healthy for your body, for your mind, and
Mhm.
for your spirit. All of
Mhm.
those things will help us, in during our day of darkness.
Yeah, yeah. You just said about the body, right? Because sometimes we think that if we do for our spirits, we would be good, but we can't forget our body, right?
Correct. Correct.
And we have a comment from Iago. He is in
Mhm.
Brazil now. And he talk, yeah, he start a workout routine. It's helpful too, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's helpful for your body, like you're saying, the through the perispirit, right? We have connection, body and
Mm-hmm.
spirit. So our thoughts can become diseases later
Yeah.
in our physical body, but if we also do things with our physical body, we can harm our perispirit that will affect our spirit too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely work out, whatever fits you. I know my sister loves the CrossFit, and I'm like, okay, you go for that. I just go like to walk.
Not for me. Yeah, not for me too.
I like to walk outside too because I can, do like but if that hard cardio, it's for you, go for it, right? If that
Yeah.
but you prefer something, but that's what I'm trying to say too. It's like don't get intimidated. It just keep moving,
Yeah,
right? So as your
do
body moves,
something, right?
yeah, your body just put some music and start dancing,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
As your body is moving, the blood is circulating, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can maybe find a better idea, right? And you can see life in a better light.
For
Mhm.
me, the best time to put a song and start dancing is is when I'm doing deep cleaning at home.
Exactly. Oh, I refuse to say that cleaning or cooking is self care, but if that works for you, great. But I'm like, I refuse to say that. I have to do something else. Those are chores.
Yeah,
They
it's true. It's true. That's why I keep doing something excited, right?
to make it a little, I get
Easier.
you. Yeah, to make it
Yeah.
hard, but
And
yeah.
another question, yeah, from Publio. It's notorious. We are in days of darkness, so we have to have faith, and it will be better, or we have to use our faith to fight against the odds. Fight using the love with all our capacity.
So do we have to just have faith, or do we have
Uh,
to use our faith to fight against the odds?
mhm.
Yeah, I think that Spiritism really does always talks about resilience, but it is or oh, it's another word in English, but it is not a passive way where you just accept things. From our faith, we have to accept that some things might not be, we might not be able to change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
However, I don't stop trying to make my life better until I know for sure I tried everything and it's still I'm in this difficulty. So then, yes, maybe that's, part of what I need to go through. But you cannot, is that story that the guy was lost and God sends somebody and he says, no, God's going to save me. Sends even a helicopter, and he stays there. And then God says, but I sent you, one person, a boat, a helicopter, I sent you everything and you didn't take it, right? So that's the thing. It's we use our faith, and the faith in spiritism it's is a rational faith. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
encourage people to know why they believe the way they believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just I believe because I do believe. It's the reason why. So it's a rational faith. Um, but it's also a faith that is an active faith, right?
Yes.
It's not because, oh, okay, if I pray, I just pray that everything's
Not
going
only wait, right? Pray and wait, right?
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
you pray and you vigil, like Jesus said. So you pay attention, you work, it's a active thing.
That's why your visualization was so good. The,
Hmm.
the last, the last phrase was perfect, right?
Yeah, and I forgot to do that, but I think, later I will copy this and I'll put in the YouTube so people, if they want to repeat that,
Yeah, on the
will be
comments, right?
as in
Yeah,
the
on the
comments.
comment.
I'll
Yeah,
put there so that people can practice,
yeah,
and
good
you can
idea.
put just a little bit of, some instrumental music and just repeat to yourself. And
Mhm.
sometimes we forget how awesome we are, that we are immortal spirits, that we are creatures that were created for good and by good, right? So,
Yeah,
sometimes we really have to tell ourselves so we remember.
it's true. Thank you so much, Bansi, again. It's always very good to have you here.
I'm always happy, and my heart is always full of good feelings when I'm here with you guys.
You are part of our family in
That's how
Canada.
I feel.
Canada loves you.
Yes, and I love you guys too. But yeah, thank you because like that once we have to meditate on these words to talk, it's not because we know them, but we are the first ones who um, get the benefit from reading them multiple times and thinking about it. So it's very good for us to prepare during the week.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye. And thank you for your participation in the chat. We will now move to the preparation for the tonight's spiritual treatment. PAS is the transfusion of spiritual energy with the goal of assisting with our physical, emotional, and mental balance. PASs help us to restore a state of harmony and peace by replacing negative energy with health and positive energy. In order to receive the best benefits from passes, please follow the audio instruction or remain in prayer. You may close your eyes to help with mentalization. During the pass, the water you set aside will also absorb the spiritual energy that your family and you can benefit from. So now we will make a prayer in preparation for the pass, which will be our closing prayer as well. So I invite everyone to close your eyes if you wish. Elevate our thought. Heavenly Father, we are here one more Tuesday to learn more about your teachings. First of all, we would like to pray for the peace in our planet. May your love and your peace be with everyone in this world. We thank you for everything you have done for us. Thank you for your love, your protection, your mercy, and for never leaving us alone. Thank you for always being with us, helping us to become a better person. Thank you for this so appropriate talk tonight. We are really living days of darkness, but we know that there is a reason for everything and that we need to trust on your will because nothing happens by chance. We ask you and the good spirits to help us overcome all the evil in our lives, such as obsession, envy, pride, selfishness. Please help us to do our inner reformation now because there is no more time to waste. We ask you to bless all of the names that are in the positive vibration list. Everybody who are suffering now, who are struggling, may we can feel better after the spiritual treatment and please stay with us today and always. So be it.
Let us now prepare ourselves for the moment of the passes and the magnetization of water. Let's now calm our hearts, breathing in and out. Pay attention to your body. Focus on your breath and let yourself be carried by this energy. Let your thoughts pass by without judging them. Let them flow. Allow this light to be the beacon that guides you, and allow these words to penetrate your energy. Make each word an anchor of gratitude, faith, and trust. With the purpose of healing, which takes away my faith, healing every feeling of separation, of pain, let it all dissolve in this moment, leaving only love, gratitude, and trust. We ask God for the presence of our guardian angel and the friendly spirits who welcome us into this enlightened environment of our Spiritist Center. We open our plexus of love and forgiveness by mentalizing a light surrounding our hearts. Find a quiet and comfortable place to begin the mentalization process. Remove all worries from your thoughts. We ask that during the pass you breathe slowly and deeply. Let your body relax and surrender yourself to a deep meditation. Calmly imagine divine energies in soft and colorful light surrounding you in an environment of peace and spiritual warmth. Entrusting God with your most intimate desires, raise your thoughts to Jesus and the emissaries of the spiritual environment. The path begins with the cleansing of your soul. Imagine a waterfall of crystal clear water pouring over us, removing all the feelings that keep you away from faith and trust. Feel the energy of this water bathing you and deeply breathe in, feeling peace and harmony. Allow this water to wash away all the impurities and spiritual larvae, washing away all the sorrows and resentments, any feelings of hatred and revenge that hold us back and cause us harm, not only from this life, but past ones as well. Now visualize spiritual doctors around you, applying magnetic cleansing passes, sanitizing your spiritual body of all sadness and negative energy. Mentalize these negative thoughts and feelings being washed away, evaporating from your soul, like water evaporating into thin air, and being carried far away from your mind. Surround yourself with the faith that bathes your being, bringing clarity and lucidity, rebalancing every cell in your body. May the water envelop all pain and bring the clarity of opportunity that chooses peace. The answer arises in our hearts, freeing us from all evil, and freeing all whom we have caused evil into, and who have caused us evil. Washing away all the connections that bind us. Even though we may not understand, we are freeing ourselves from all that causes us harm. Feel this cleansing penetrate your soul and release. Now that we are spiritually cleansed, imagine yourself surrounded by the light of love from the hands of Jesus. At this moment, sing words of faith and gratitude, being faithful to the light that exists in me, planted by the zealous Father. Imagine the sunlight that surrounds and enraptures, freeing us from the chains of everything that holds us down, strengthening your faith. Allow yourself to trust in this light, surrender to it, involved in pleasant feelings and feeling relieved to receive the strengthening lights. Mentalize your spiritual mentors now applying divine light for the strengthening of your mind and your emotions, leaving you feeling emotionally revitalized. Let us now mentalize the magnetization of this water. May we mentalize all the friendly spirits, magnetizing this water and filling it with everything that our bodies, minds, and soul need, so that it may be of help to us when we drink it after the Pass. Thank you, God.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We will be back next Tuesday here on Spiritism Canada and Continental Concaprus Americas at 8:30 p.m. East, and next Wednesday on Kardec Radio at 8 p.m. East. And please don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube from the Spiritism Canada and the Spiritist group Path of the Light. Have a good night.
Sometimes it's not so easy. Sometimes it's not so close. Sometimes we build our dreams, but then we see them decompose. When you feel down the dumps, feeling sad and blue, give life a chance, my friend, the sun will shine again on you. Believe you can come through. The rainy days are true. Have little faith in you. Maybe tomorrow you can dream all your dreams again. Though some sorrow remains, it doesn't mean the end. Believe you can come through. The rainy days are true. Sometimes okay to feel blue. Have little faith in you. sorrow remains. Your dreams can get you through.